Welcome back to What to Drink Before You Die. And today's installment features one of my favorite wines of all time from Mr. Jean-Louis Chave and his Hermitage Rouge. Now, before we go forward, let's just clarify something right here. People seem to be a little timid about ordering this grape because they're a little confused. I'll take a Syrah. It's Shiraz in Australia or Africa, and it's Syrah pretty much everywhere else. S-Y-R-A-H or S-H-I-R-A-Z. So nothing in between, all right? Petite Syrah is a whole different grape. Nothing to do with Syrah. It's actually called defies, and it's a totally different bag. And it's not just a smaller, wimpier version of this. So, okay, now we can move on, right? Good? Good. One of the first things in wine that dumbfounded me was how something I knew was made from grape juice could at some point in its life smell and taste like roasted meat, blood, herbs, flowers, and soil. I mean, what in the living hell? And there is no better way to explore that than this wine. This little hill of Hermitage in the Northern Rhône valley of France. Side note, once again, to call the Rhône one entity is also, I think, a little bit preposterous. I've already talked about Châteauneuf-du-Pape in the South Rhône, right, with Côte-de-Rhône and Gigondas. And there's kind of this big no man's land when you're traveling north between Avignon and then when you eventually come to Hermitage up here. And in that time, everything changes. The soils change from galets, big round stones, and very warm, sunbathed, sort of, scrubby, flatter land to steep granitic soils with a completely different wind and microclimate, and of course the grapes that grow there. And now we're talking about Syrah. Maybe the most incredibly fascinating combination of rusticity and regal demeanor in the wine world. There is no better expression to understand this appellation than Jean-Louis Chave and his Hermitage. A wine that comes from 14 different parcels, 11 of which are named lieux-dits, things that you might know, like l'Hermite, Le Méal, and so forth. But he's not a fan of the Burgundian idea. Much like Chapoutier might do with the single-vineyard bottlings, Jean-Louis not having that. He believes that the symphony is stronger than the solo performance. So, with each vineyard bringing something fascinating to the mix, whether it's the structure, the tannin, the acidity, the fruit, the florals, the high tones, the bass, he's like sitting on a mixing board, just kind of putting all these things together into what is, for me, the absolute quintessence of the appellation. Incredible Syrah in all of its black, peppery, roasted, gamey, savory, garrigue, herby, floral glory. I mean, this stuff is intense. Now, some critics, like for example, Greg from Coravant, not to name names, I've gotten into huge discussions about, you cannot drink this young, it's so terrible, it hurts, the pain. And yes, it's true. Drinking a young Hermitage does take a chunk out of your palate. You sip it and it's like you just bit into a mouthful of black peppercorns. It is nutso that a wine can even do that in the first place. So you kind of masochistically just kind of go along with it, right? Because it hurts so good. But if you can give these things some time, all of these tightly wound layers just start to blossom like a flower and just reveal themselves. And with age into this tobacco-y, bacon fatty, black olivey, insanity. And they age forever. In my glass, I've got some 96. Now, this is one of those vintages that you want to look out for. It's not the legendary vintage that all the collectors want and drive the prices up insanely. It's one of those under the radar vintages. It was cooler here, which means it's a classic, right? Classic structure, loads of tannin at the beginning, which is why it needed so much time. A lot of times the critics kind of pan these wines at the beginning because cool vintage, great wines need lots of time. Whether it's 96 in the Rhône or if it was 93 in Burgundy or if it was 02 in Bordeaux, it doesn't mean they're bad. It just means you have to be patient. But now, after 30 years, wow, rock and roll, man. I mean, this is not so. Now all those tannins are nicely resolved and all of that complexity just flows out of the glass. It is absolutely majestic. If you want to know Syrah, go to the source. Jean-Louis Chave, Hermitage. Put this on your bucket list and try to knock it off before you are pushing up daisies. We'll see you next week on What to Drink Before You Die.